this content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill
Wait
no
a
one.
second.
No.
When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. Septum Sin versus the world. 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 I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching Septum Sen vs. the World. I'm Septum Sen. This is Kotobuki Jake.
Hi.
And we're here to show you what we got.
Yes, indeed.
So, this is Kotobuki Jake's birthday episode.
Yes.
Let's party!
Woohoo!
Alright, well, alright, that
Now we
was
got
enough
that
of
out of our system.
So, we're going to be doing a special one. I'm starting us off this time because we're going to end with me giving him an extra pickup. I told him to take one less than what our number is. We still got so we got 11 each this time. So we're going to get started.
Because we're still doing my birthday haul.
So we're
What a
kicking us
haul!
off. I'm actually going to be doing half of a lot that I purchased off of Wet Movie 1. He's trying to sell off a lot of his extra stuff in order to move.
Is he still working on that?
He is. He's got an eBay shop, and he will do some pop-up auctions on Facebook. And some of them I got pretty cheap. I can't remember whether it was 30. I think it was 30 that I paid for this lot of 4. And this is one of 2 of them. The 2 probably least impressive. I'm probably going to show this time, and the one that I really bid for is up there.
Okay.
No, wait, less than that, because 30 would be what I paid. I think it was like 20. But I can't remember. In any case, the first one was this 2019 film, which I'll probably be adding to my list to see.
Woohoo!
Of, let's see here. Automation. Is, looks interesting. It is by Epic Releases. I've never heard of this film whatsoever. And, I am curious. I will watch this before. I gotta finish Everybody Knows. I've got to finish, I think there's like 2 more behind that. Then I want to get Oko's In, The Penguin Highway, and then I really want to finish Velvet Buzzsaw and Gem Cutters if I can as well. But this is a part of that.
Cool.
So I've got a lot I want to catch before next week.
All right.
So that's all I gotta say about this.
Good times. Well, I have a couple of themes going with mine. And the first one, again, is birthday haul. So, what a haul! We'll say that again at the end. And we still need to try and find that clip somewhere. But anyway, so I got a big pile of stuff from my brothers and my mom went together and did some ordering. Basically, the last, I think it was the post-Christmas Sentai sale, I basically wrote them a list and said, here, pick from these. And I figured it would end up being for my birthday, but I thought they didn't do it. I didn't realize they did, so that's kind of cool. It was a nice surprise. So, there's a lot of Sentai stuff, and some of it is quite good. Some of it might be quite good. Actually, I'm not sure I have seen any of this, but it's all stuff mostly that's been on my list. The first one has been on my list for some time. It's one of those ones that I even wasn't sure if I had it. It's one of those, you know what I mean? But no, I didn't have it. And that is the series Sunday Without God, which basically, so 15 years ago, the stories say, God abandoned the world, leading the souls of the human race in limbo. No new lives are born, and no one can die. Yet people still age while their bodies wither with the years.
Jeez.
Into this strange new landscape comes the Gravekeepers, charged with bringing peace to those who cannot otherwise die. And I is one of these gravekeepers until someone shows up, a gunsman, who apparently has the ability to break this cycle.
Yay.
So, I've heard decent things about this. It's been on my list for a long time. And again, I think I didn't order it because I just couldn't remember if I had it or not. But I am very happy to finally have it. And one day I'll finally see it.
This next one is a video game purchase. Not the one that I forgot last week, but another one. And this one is Judgment.
Ah.
I will almost have rounded out my entirety in the Yakuza series with this. Technically, this is a spin-off story about a lawyer, former lawyer, who is solving a crime. It's done the same way, but you're kind of the good guy instead of the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard a lot of good things about it. It's pretty much Yakuza with a twist. This is one of the few that fits alongside the main story. There's a couple. There's a lot of other spin-off games in the Yakuza series, like Dead Souls and so on, but they're not necessarily canon, or they take place a little bit far back in time. So this one actually does go side by side with the storyline, so that's kind of cool right there.
Cool.
And that reminds me, I have to pick up some stuff and bring it over here, so I will be back.
Okay, so my next one is actually two. If you watched, I think a little over a month ago, maybe, I was doing some pickups that I picked up from this sale, and there were a couple of pieces of this franchise. I'm pretty sure this is all that remains for me of the franchise. And I have Hayate the Combat Butler Cuties, aka Season 4, and Hayate the Combat Butler Heaven is a Place on Earth, or the movie. So, like I said, I'm pretty sure this ends the franchise for me. Again, one that's been on my radar for a long time. One that I really need to watch, finally, and be done with it. That's going to be a lengthy view, I know that. But I'm looking forward to it, and it's nice to finally be in a position to pick it up at any time.
Yeah.
Whenever we get to it.
That's one that's been out for a while, but it had that nice re-release on Blu-ray.
Right.
So, next up is actually going to be out. Let's see, this is pickup. So, if you look inside Movies Galore, our pre-show, I liked the pre-show movie so much that I had to get a copy of it myself. Evil Dead Trap. This is a Synapse Films release. So they actually did a pretty cool digital transfer. And in a couple of weeks, you will see a review. I've actually got it filmed and edited. And uploaded. It's just, this Saturday is going to be Miami Guns. This past week was Death Toilet 1 and 2, because I owed that a long time. So then it's going to be this one, and then the next one. Actually, I've got 3 movies that I've got 3 more reviews. 4, really, upcoming that have yet been up. So it's kind of cool. This one is all about these girls in a movie studio, like a news studio. They do like a daily morning show. And they get sent this snuff film. And their reaction isn't, oh my gosh, let's go contact the police. It's, ooh, this shows you how they got there. Let's go see. Let's go investigate.
Because that's always a good idea.
So this ends up resulting in some bad decisions, more bad decisions, and consequences of said bad decisions. Fairly fun film. You want to see more about it, hear more about it, you need to join us for that pre-show discussion, which he will not be a part of. I doubt that he'd be able to deal with this one anyway.
Have you seen the second one yet?
I have. I'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fun. I really enjoyed this. Great slasher.
All right. So, next one is one that immediately caught my attention because for some reason I love the title. And this is another one that I probably would have ordered sooner, except I couldn't remember if I'd ordered it or not. That's a problem when you buy every Sentai one you can get hold of, that you sometimes forget which ones you've gotten. But this is one I've been wanting to see for a while, and it's called The Hentai Prince and the Stony Cat. And so basically, you've got
that one.
Koto is a complete and total pervert, but he doesn't think that's a problem. What bothers him is every time he tries to bluff his way through one of his indiscretions, his inability to drop his emotionless facade inevitably digs him in deeper. Tsukiko also has an issue and wants to get rid of her childish habit of blurting out whatever she happens to be thinking. So when they learn about a statue of a cat that can take away a single personality trait, they're both eager to try it out. What neither of them realizes until it's too late is the cat doesn't just take the personality, it gives it to someone else. So, one of those kind of switch personalities ideas, which in this particular instance, I have a feeling that it's going to be one that might be a mixed bag, but it should be a lot of fun. So, glad to finally have it.
So remember you were asking me about this.
Yes.
And that is our subject of this week's Inside Movies Galore, already up and watchable. I hope you were there with us. Evil Dead Trap 2. It's the one that finishes us off of our second chance months. This is Mo's time period. And this one follows this projectionist. And she has a penchant for murdering people. But there seems to be some sort of supernatural force governing this particular weird dichotomy. It is a okay film. I've looked at it. There is a lot of gory sections, but for the most part, the gore is confined to, oh look, we're investigating. There's a dead body on the ground. You can be like, The only part that's harder to look away from is the final confrontation at the end where they turn things around. Because it's kind of a bloody, back and forth. But it's one that you could probably look away from and still do okay with. If you're interested. There is a loose connection between these two films if you really want to subject yourself to both.
I won't have time for that.
Do you want to try for this one? It is 102 minutes.
Well, I kind of feel like I owe it to Mo for making him switch the schedule around. Oh, man, I just... Ugh.
Well, it is Japanese.
It is that, which could be a good thing.
Now, I will admit, this one has one thing that you probably would like. It has boobs in it.
Ooh. Yeah, well, that's not enough for some of the stuff you mentioned. But yeah, well, if you haven't already checked out our discussion this week for Movies Galore, tune in and you'll find out what I decided.
Yep.
But I will be late regardless because I've got an event tomorrow, which I will talk about in next week's At the Movies discussion.
And Dustin's been late himself several times. Are they
Yes,
showing
he
the
was
movie?
late on mine this week.
Are they just doing the concert or are they showing the movie with it?
Well, I don't know yet. We'll find out.
Well, that'll
That's
be
like
good.
I said, we'll talk about it next week. But,
all right.
So that was your thing, right?
Yep, go for it.
All right. Next one is a much more recent series. It got mixed reviews, but it falls into a genre very closely related to what we were just talking about. And that is the series Bang Dream, which is basically about this girl who's obsessed with stars, finds a star-shaped guitar, and sees that as a sign that she has to form a band or something along those lines. From what I've seen, it looks like it's riffing off of the whole super popularity right now of idol shows, and also shows like K-On! That are more instrument oriented. I loved K-On! I loved Love Live, so if nothing else, this should be entertaining. Like I said, it got mixed reviews, but it's worth looking at. Yeah.
Well, this next one, oddly enough, the only one that was used, really, because all the rest of the stuff that was sent in the lot was still sealed, brand new. Out of the 4 items. This one was the only one, and it was an indie film that I'd never heard of, called The Kane Complex. Have you heard of this one?
I don't believe I have.
As you can see, this is either a screener copy or this is one that was a limited release. Just by the, you can tell by the cover and the fact that it's a plain black label. I mean, looking at the back, you can tell it looks like it's just one of those. And I love having these because these are rare items. You know that there weren't that many of these produced, and that's pretty cool. This is about a guy who has PTSD because he had to do something rather bad. He had to do something that ended up in the death of his brother. This still bothers him to the point where his wife has to near debate leaving him. He ends up having to confront his demons literally in order to gain his sanity back. And this is, I mean, these are 2 of the demons that invade his house. It's pretty decent. It has some pretty cool fighting in it. And I have done a review on it. So, in about a month, because it's going to go Miami Guns, Evil Dead Trap 2 review, and then The Kane Complex. So, if you want to wait a month, you'll get a full review of this film. I've already watched it. It's fun. Relatively fun. I had to get to this right away because I saw this. I was like, ooh, I want to see.
Well, let me see. All right. This next one, I'm feeling like I should let you introduce it because you had so much fun with the title before.
Oh, Royal Space Force Wings of... I can't even read it.
Royal Space Force, The Wings of Honiamise, I'm guessing. I was ragging him because when we did our list of anime films...
I've seen it.
I have not, but now I have it, and I will see it.
Good film.
It supposedly is quite a good film, and I look forward to it.
You want to see a good review of it? Some people here don't really care for Anime Abandon, but he gushed all over that film. He loved that film. And it's a fun review to watch because he goes in depth. So it's just kind of cool to see it. It made me want to see it, and I'm a happier person for seeing it.
Good deal.
So, my next one. This is one you probably know already and have wanted to see, and that is Batman Hush.
I need to watch my copy.
Now, this is a pretty cool one. Since I actually have it open because I've watched my copy, you can see the disc art.
So how faithful is it to the comic?
Relatively so. There are a couple of things that are interesting that are off. One thing that I find in particular, I'm not going to ruin anything because you've read the comics.
Right.
Bane replaces Killer Croc in his first section.
Okay.
Which, it's not that big of a changeover.
Well, character-wise, you couldn't get much more different.
It's
in
by
some
though
ways.
they did the same basic concept of that. It's like, why is he like more feral and not as intelligent as they have been? That sort of thing.
Okay.
And otherwise, it runs fairly faithful. I was actually surprised at how well they did with this adaptation, and it does. They added a couple other things, like Damien was added in.
Ugh.
Well,
that ruined it right there.
But they even had it right down to the powerful moment where the Joker was placed in there.
That was a good moment.
But there are a couple of other things. They wanted to connect this to the Death and the Reign of the Superman movies, into that continuity. So it kind of takes place right after that. They reference that. They also have... There was one other thing that bothered me about it. The Red Hood connection isn't there.
Oh.
Which, to me, I know it wasn't. It was kind of hinted that it was Red Hood was a red herring. But But at the same time, there is a legit involvement. There was kind of that introduction to it before it got to the story. And even the placement of the Joker was more in line with that. So, I don't know. It was still pretty good. I did like what they did with it for the most part. I think they cheapened it out a little bit at the end. Like, the involvement of the main bad guy is much more hands-on. There's even a big old fist fight between him and the main baddie. And if you know who the main baddie is, that's kind of odd.
Yeah.
But still, overall, pretty decent adaptation. I liked it pretty well.
Like I said, I need to get to that one in the next few days. That's got to go on my list for next week. Next one I have is a little, I believe, 3-episode OVA series that I wanted, and it's not been out too long. I believe it stars Megumi Hayashibara, which is one reason why I wanted it. But I didn't want to pay a heck of a lot for it, and free is a good price, so I won't complain about that. And that's the series Dragon Dentist.
Ah, yes.
Which is about a young lady that works as a dentist for dragons, and she discovers an unconscious soldier between her dragon's teeth instead of a cavity, and finds herself caught up in a series of events that have been foretold to bring disaster to her people, etc., etc. Apparently this is from the creative team behind the new Eva films, according to this, which that's kind of cool. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it'll be fun.
This next one was a Black Friday pickup, but I had to watch it because it's a 2019 film in preparation. Matter of fact, a lot of these, much like last week, I brought in a few from that same vein, and you'll see more in the pickups next week from that. And that is Brightburn. Speaking of Superman, because Superman was involved in that.
I've heard of this.
This is a Superman story, but imagine Clark Kent it kind of reminds me of a combination of this and Dragon Ball, because Goku was originally sent to Earth to destroy it, and he got hit on the head, and the brain damage rendered him essentially a good guy.
And it wasn't much there to begin with.
So Brightburn, it's as if like the evil forces do grab hold of the person, and it's very well done as a horror film. You kind of, I felt creeped out at parts of this, and the ending it disappoints me, but it's at the same time I would understand that's how something like this was going to end. So it's fairly worthwhile. I'm going to take this out.
Good deal.
But you can see like the little sketches and scrawls that they have on that. So that's pretty, very disturbing film. One you could probably watch because it's not gore to that level, but it's still disturbing in a lot of senses. They did a good job on the creep factor.
Good deal. Oh, well, how would you rate it versus, say, Midsummer and that?
Midsummer is a different film altogether. This is
terms of
very
the disturbing factor.
This is straightforward disturbing, whereas Midsummer was just, you're having a bad acid trip disturbing.
Yes. All right. So, my next two have an interesting theme in common. They were both series where the initial release from Sentai, well, one of them initially got a special release, and one of them initially got a special and a regular release. In both cases, the special releases went out of print fast. But they luckily had a standard come along after. And this one is a highly acclaimed series called Land of the Lustrous. Which essentially it's set in an interesting continuity where people are not, or the Phos is what they're called. They're not flesh and blood. They are basically living crystal. And there's this group called the Lunarians who hunt them and use them, break them to use as jewelry and whatnot. And it's a very interesting concept. The initial release was an ultra fancy steelbook that I did not have a shot at. But then they came back and did this, which is a nice looking release regardless. And again, I've heard really good things about this. I don't know what I'll end up making of it, but I look forward to seeing it.
Well, another 2019 release that I watched. It sounds like a broken record. Another 2019 release that I got over Black Friday, really cheap, like $4 cheap.
Nice.
I finally caught up to the Critter series by catching Critters Attack.
All right.
And this is a pretty simple tale. Critters come to Earth chasing their queen. They got a good critter in this one.
And attack.
And so, one of them comes down to Earth, kills people, multiplies, and they go on their rampage, as critters do. And the only difference in this one is that there is a good critter. And that's about it. It's a Critters film.
Good deal.
It's about even with a lot of the other Critters films, which is fairly impressive considering it's kind of a retread back to a well, and usually those don't end well. So, considering
the end in the well.
Considering how well they did with this, I was impressed. I enjoyed it.
Good deal. All right. Actually, this could almost be said to be sort of a thematic connection with our conversation of wells just now. This was one that, again, there was a fancy, big bonus edition, limited edition set that sold out quickly. I'm pretty sure the only one I've seen that I think sold out as fast or faster was probably Monster Musume. And this one is highly acclaimed. I think it's like number 11 right now on A&N's list of the best anime out there. And that's a series called Made in Abyss.
Ah, yes.
And I really do want to see this. I know very, very little about it. But it says, no one knows what's at the bottom of the abyss. No one who's ventured that far has ever returned. What is known is that the abyss is filled with strange creatures and priceless relics that have lured generations of fortune hunters into a diabolical trap. Because while anyone can descend into the abyss safely, coming back up triggers a nightmare series of transformations and madness, etc., etc. That sounds fun.
It does.
But like I said, this one is so highly acclaimed. Anytime you see something with that kind of acclaim, you gotta know why.
I had to get a copy myself a while back when they got it on sale. Now this one is the reason why I'm selling those Blu-rays. I was watching a angry video game, or actually Cinemassacre rant about why you shouldn't buy Blu-ray, which is almost an anti-physical media rant, but tongue-in-cheek. Because at the end, he was selling a Blu-ray. He did a commercial for a Blu-ray. And that was the new AVGN, Angry Video Game Nerd, the BFG of Blu-rays. This is the only way you can get all 12 seasons. The DVD set stops at around season 9. The Blu-ray set stops at around season 10. And and this goes all the way to 12. And they've got some empty slots in here for the next couple seasons of releases. So they do plan on releasing some that you can add to this set so that you can continue that. So I say, you know what? It's worth getting. It's a fairly solid set. It's got a lot of discs on it. It's got
takes up a lot less freaking space than the other sets.
Well, the 9 disc was definitely... This is a little bit less than the 4 Blu-ray set discs because, they don't take up that much room. But still, not bad. And it's a pretty cool set. I really enjoy it. It's fun to watch. I really enjoy rewatching it, so it'll be fun. Just sit down and watch all of it.
Good deal. All right, well, we're actually making good time for everything we're going through.
Yeah, we're almost done.
Yeah. My next one is actually a fairly new series, and it's one that I again, the title caught my attention, but also just I'm very curious about it in general. I think there's a recent movie from the same group of people too. But this is a little show called Kaze-san and Morning Glories. And it's apparently a Yuri romance. Supposedly one of the better ones out there. And it looks nice. I like the art style. I like the name. I think it should be pretty good. So happy to have that.
Well, this next one I found, it's been in my collection for a while. I thought I hadn't watched it. And then when Dan actually mentioned it, because he put it up for one of the choices, which, by the way, the voting is still going on. It's ending tomorrow. Wait, sorry. It's already ended. But you'll find out what we've got for the Music Lovers March. But, but I doubt this one's going to win. I think I had like one vote last time I checked. And I looked, I couldn't find it. And then I looked behind my shelf, and it was sitting open behind my shelf. So I had to immediately watch it, and that was Over the Edge. Apparently I had watched my copy before. I don't remember watching it. But I remember getting it because I was like, yeah, I've got it. And I was looking around, I was like, where is it? And sure enough, it's just sitting dusty behind it. I had to clean it off. Had to do all this. The disc looked okay, so I was like, okay, I gotta watch it. And it's got some really good music in it. It's got, Cheap Trick, Van Halen, the Ramones. Pretty awesome soundtrack to it. And
Sounds good.
I can understand why he submitted it for Music Lovers March. It's essentially about these teenagers and their fight with authority, which ends up with one dying and then the teens going ape and wrecking the town. So, yeah, looks fun. Well, it is fun. Pretty decent one. Definitely hardcore rock and roll.
Rock and roll!
But not 2019.
All right. And the last one I brought with me is one that I frankly was surprised they included this one, but definitely the biggest dollar ticket item on the bunch. But it was still on sale, if I remember correctly, for a reasonable price. But this is also a very recent release. And it's one of those Sentai limited edition sets that I mentioned. And it's one called Tada Never Falls in Love. And this was one that I really am interested in. I really do want to see this. It's a nice little set, kind of, a little nice couple of cute little cats on the side. I don't remember precisely what the story is. I know this guy's a photographer who's like really, really, really into photography. And I know it's kind of a sort of a romance between them. But I don't really remember the basic plot synopsis beyond that. Oh, they even have the two little cats on the side there. I'll bet you the cats are going to be the real stars of the show. But but this looks fun, and I am very much intrigued, and I'm very happy to have that, especially that edition.
Well, my last one is a long time coming. Because I was introduced to a series called Yakuza through, and I've got a digital copy of this, but Yakuza 0, which was a kind of a prequel to the Yakuza series. Now, this series has been out since the PlayStation 2, and it's essentially like GTA, except in Japan, and with Yakuza, and with more martial arts, because, Japan.
Yeah.
Well, they also did a steelbook release and remake of the original PS2 classic, Yakuza Kiwami. And then they did a remake of, and I got the steelbooks for these, of the second one that was in PS2, Kiwami 2. They kind of updated it. Because they also had released this one originally for PS6, yes, PS4, Yakuza 6. So I got special editions for all of these.
Nice.
So, was like, well, there seems to be something missing between these. 0, 1, 2, 6. Something's missing. You know what that something is?
3, sir.
Actually, 3, 4, and 5, which is in this collection, which finally brings all of the ones. These are the 3 PlayStation 3 ones.
Mm-hmm.
They're there. Now, I'm actually going to do an unboxing for you guys.
Ooh.
Right here. I'm not as big onto the video games having to be in plastic as I am for my DVDs. So you have this collectible case, which looks like the original Yakuza 5 box. But as you can see, there's no game.
Well, that's kind of silly.
But if you want to, you could put your Yakuza 3 copy there. So in this, you've got this, a fold-out, which has this little sticker.
Mm-hmm.
And this has Yakuza 3 and 4 right here on this disc, and Yakuza 5 on this. My guess is that they didn't do a lot of work to remaster these because they were PlayStation 3, so they were pretty close to the current gen anyway. Probably just smoothed out a little bit of the controls, and that probably was about it. I'm curious as to how it handles, but it's really cool because now I can just add these together, and now I have the entirety of the Kiryu storyline.
That's kind of infuriating, though, that they waste a jewel case for that crap. That's like, if you're going to package it that way, just package it that
Just
way.
put it in there. Put it in the jewel case. But still, it's a cool-looking thing.
Yeah.
It's a nice little special edition.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I could actually go, how far would you go for family?
Yes.
So, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, we are down to the last one.
Ooh.
So, you can actually reach into my bag of holding, actually unremarkable cloth bag,
Yes.
and pull out your gift.
Where is that?
Watch, they bite.
Oh, well, there we go. It didn't bite yet. All right.
Oop.
Ooh. It's essential.
It is essential.
All right. Yeah, I'm very curious about this version. Okay, so yes, we have spoken about this on this channel, of course, with from the studio that brought you Assassination Classroom and Danganronpa 2. We have Kino no Tabi, The Beautiful World, but the new one.
And still, we still have the few that weren't
Still
released.
missing stuff. Yes. I'm curious about this. The reviews it got were not as kind as we had hoped, but it's Kino's journey. It's going to be awesome regardless. So, very cool. Thank you, Zara.
Well, that's it for this time, and I hope you've enjoyed this wonderful, wonderful rundown. But otherwise, I hope you subscribe. Let us know in the comments what you've picked up that's fun, and we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.